we're back on. I want to ask you, when you're doing these broadcasts, who is your audience? Who do you see in your mind that you're talking to?
You know, for a while it was my mom, actually, because she was always my biggest fan. And she just wants me to... for a while it was my mom, actually. And she was always like my biggest fan. And I just made sure that when I said something that she could understand it. So you gotta, I mean, it wasn't easy because meteorology is not easy to just break down and make it simple, because sometimes it's really not that simple. But I think we try and do that, and we do a good job on that on the Weather Channel.
Has that changed in terms of who you're thinking of now?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I guess now it's a bigger audience. It's like an amphitheater of people, different people too, from all walks of life. People that have been through disasters, haven't gone through one yet. People that still want to learn, want to be reminded of something I said maybe 10 years ago. You know, there's the fans that have always been there. You know, the groupies. It's just a much bigger audience now. So that's kind of weird, but that's what I think.
And how do you make that balance in terms of the amount of assumed knowledge that a person would have about the weather?
Well, I refer to things that I talked about the night before, and I just do kind of a reminder of that. So it's kind of weird. I feel like my audience never stops watching. It's like they're always watching. But I remind them of it because I know it's a hard lesson or something that was difficult to explain. And I also have to remember that we're getting new people that have never watched the Weather Channel. So we have a huge volume, large numbers of people. I mean, it's kind of cool going out to a location with Al Roker, and not only does everybody recognize Al, but they recognize me from the Weather Channel. So it's kind of cool, you know. And and even though we don't have as high of a number of people at one point watching as NBC, we have a lot of eyeballs checking in at different times. That's what the Weather Channel's always been known for. So not huge, long length of tune, but yet a lot of people, a lot of volume coming in.
What do you think is the power of television?
The power of television is, I mean, especially these days, the way things are shot and lit and set up, and special effects. Avatar is a great example of that. I mean, what a tremendous movie that was. Just the whole concept of it, the way it was shot, the way it was. It brings you there. The pop TV brings you there, and that's why people, I think, aren't afraid to come up and say anything to me, because all of a sudden I'm like in their living room every day, telling them something. Sometimes it's something funny, sometimes it's something sad, sometimes it's something that's going to impact them in a couple of days. But they develop a relationship with you. All right? So there is a little star power to TV. I mean, I never thought in my wildest dreams, when I started being a weatherman, meteorologist, that there would be rock star status. But there is. One time I was covering a storm on the North Carolina beach. I did 3 shots. I'm talking to a producer and I'm writing stuff down. I got somebody in my IFB talking to me. They're like, Jim, we can't see the water. I'm like, what do you mean you can't see the water? She goes, look behind you. I turn around, there's got to be 400 people behind me. I'm like, oh my God. So I had to say, guys, I need half of you to go this way. I need half of you to go that way, because we got to see that we're broadcasting in front of an ocean that could be terrible and violent versus a rock concert. So I mean, I had to kind of separate the masses.
Could you even imagine that when you?
No, not imagine it at all. It's cool though. It really is. As long as it just doesn't get, as long as people don't call your room, and because I mean you get such a small time to sleep and prepare for the next stuff. But people are 99% of the people are really cool. Really cool.
I'm guessing people blame you for the weather sometimes.
Oh,
too.
of course. Oh my gosh, I got on a plane one time. It's your fault, Cantore. This lady's looking at me. She says, it's your fault. I'm like, wow, she really means that. I'll just let her get it out. Express.
Are there things that you haven't done that you'd like to do?
You know, I always wanted to be a voice in one of those Pixar films. I just love those films, those animated films, because I've watched so many with my kids. And I think it would be really cool to be a voice, like a weather villain or something. I don't know. I think it'd be cool. You know, like we talked about the little Sopranos hit, which was totally cool.
Yeah, actually that was off camera, so if you want to elaborate on that.
Oh, yeah. One time, all of a sudden my phone blew up, and I'm like, what in the heck's going on here? I got like 7 messages in about 10 seconds. Jim, just saw you on The Sopranos. Jim, you're on The Sopranos, you didn't tell me. You're on The Sopranos. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that was awesome. I wish I could. I would have loved to have done a real cameo. That would have been incredible. You know, Tony Saragusa, you know, the big guy from the Baltimore Ravens, the world champion Baltimore Ravens back then and now, he always threw a huge celebrity golf tournament. He invited me to it, which was awesome, and I got to play in that for a few years. He had a cameo on The Sopranos. I'm like, man, if Saragusa can do it, I can do it. Now, granted, he's a big guy, and he typecast him as a bouncer, but I could do something. So it'd be cool to have just a little cameo in a movie. It would really be. I wouldn't mind doing a commercial. I wouldn't mind being the face of like a generator or you know, something that actually saves lives or helps get people through the storm. Those are the kind of things that I think would be great options.
And you've never been approached for anything like that?
Yeah, I've been approached for it. It hasn't worked out, though. I think current company is very open-minded to things like that because they realize it's like, oh, there's the Weather Channel guy versus the, oh, we can't do something like that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Where do you think you'll be in 10 years?
10 years, I hope I'm still doing this. I mean, I'm in good shape. I'm happy. I like what I'm doing. I hope I'm still doing this.
And what advice would you give to someone who aspires to do what you do?
There's a lot of people that love the weather now. I mean, like I told you, I mean, all of a sudden in the 90s, it was like every day, letter, email, boom, you know, we want to do what you're doing. I wish I was doing what you're doing. So now the kids of those people who got to grow up with the Weather Channel are coming on and they're seeing how cool it is to talk about the weather, go out and be in the weather. Just about everybody we hire now. So I want to do what Cantore's doing. I want to do what Cantore did. So we've created a monster, so to speak. I just think there's a whole new generation of kids that have so much more access to weather data now. I mean, they can almost do their own forecasting before they get out of college. They do. You know, the chasers and things like that. It's a different world. But you still have to communicate the message at the end of the day and make it fun.
What's the secret to that for you?
It's genuine. I mean, I don't, what you see is what you get. I'm the same guy off the camera as I am on the camera. And I just genuinely love the weather. It's just awesome. I'm awe-inspired by it. And like I said, you know, we can't control it. So I think in a lot of us, we're respectful of it.
Well, thanks, Jim, so much for sharing your story.
You bet. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. This is quite an honor. So where would I find something like this? I mean,
It'll be on metvlegends.org.